So today's lesson, we're going to talk about percent increase and decrease. So this lesson actually is a math lesson I'm going to teach you that you can use in real life. I know, not often have I taught you guys a lesson that you're going to use in real life, but this one you can. Now, a lot of times we'll go to, let's say we go to Foot Locker because they're having this great deal on shoes. And the deal on shoes is that they're going to give you 25% off the total price. But also, remember, you always get tax on it too. So they may be giving you a discount, but you're still going to have to pay tax on it. So if the shoes are $125 and you get a 25% off on it, but you're going to have to pay tax on it, you have to have a general idea of how much money it's going to cost to buy those shoes. Now, in today's world, we have credit cards where you're just like, just charge it. But let's say mom gave you cash. She said, here's $130. We have $130 to pay for these shoes. You're going to have to be able to do some math to determine if you have enough money, cash, to buy those shoes. Or if you have a debit card, you're going to have to use some math to determine if you have the amount of money in your account without overdrawing your account. Okay? So, percent increase, decrease. This is probably, I always say they're all my favorite lessons, but this lesson I actually really like because I like to go shopping. Okay? So I get to use this one quite a bit. Okay. So, percent increase, decrease. When will you use this?
I ran out lead.
When will you use this? I'll get some. You'll use this for sales prices, tax, selling price, like how much should you sell something for, or change in a population. So when you guys are in biology and Mrs. Koch is talking about changes in populations, you'll talk about a population increase, decrease. I saw a pencil back here, messed it up. Okay? So there are going to be 4 steps. There are going to be 4 steps in order to find the percent increase and decrease. Okay? The first step, and I want you guys to raise your hand. The first step is start at what? When we did our opener, what did I start with? Raise your hand if you remember. Raise your hand. If you remember what I started with on our opener when we did that last problem on the back side. I said we're going to start with what? 100%. So that's step 1. You're always going to start at 100%. So that goes on the first line there.
I ran out lead.
I gave you a pencil to borrow. Step 2, bless you. Now, a percent change, you can have an increase or decrease, or you can have both. Okay? So an increase means what? So that means you're going to add or subtract it. Add. So we're going to add. And a decrease means what? Subtract. It goes down. So we're going to add or subtract the percent change. Now, we're still going to have a percent after that moment because we're starting with the percent. We're adding or subtracting a percent. So we're going to then have to change the percent to a what? What do we do after we're going to change it to a decimal. So change the percent to a decimal. Now, I know in your other notes you have where it says how to change a percent to a decimal. What I did when I took these notes for the first time and I was teaching myself how to do it, I put in parentheses up above it this right here. That was just my quick reference that said I can change that percent to a decimal by dividing by 100. Like I said, that just helped me. Okay? Now, when you change that percent to a decimal, that number that we get, it's going to be a decimal, but it's going to have a certain term that we're going to call it. Does anybody remember what I called that number after I multiplied those two, or divided that out? Started with an M.
Multiply.
Multiplier. So that number you get after you change that percent to a decimal is going to be called a multiplier.
That sounds like a video game.
Now you're going to hear me use this word often, okay? So make sure you learn what it means. So multiplier. And then your final step, you're going to multiply the original amount by the, so multiply the original amount. What do you think I'm going to multiply the original amount by? The multiplier.
Have to write it again.
So you have 4 steps. I promise you, if you follow these steps, you're going to do just fine. I always add things on after I say it, right? That's all you have to do. But the only other thing that you're going to have to remember is that we're dealing with money, okay? So when we deal with money, we might have to sometimes round, because money only goes to what place value? Hundreds. Okay, does everybody have this down? All right, let's get example number 1.
There's no back, at least.
Nope, just front side. Okay,
I bet you got a worksheet today too.
This is the
so I need a new pair of black booties. These are killing my feet. So I went shopping at Macy's and I found some shoes that were $80. Lucky for me, not only were they $80, but they're discounted by 30%. Okay? So how much did I pay for these shoes that were originally $80 but then discounted by 30%? So the first thing I want you guys to identify are keywords. The keyword that you're looking at right now is discounted. When you hear discount, does that mean an increase or a decrease in price? So I'm just going to put a little subtraction sign above there. Okay?
It's better than discounts.
I love discounts. All right. So on your worksheet here, on your note sheet, you should fill in the $80 on one line and the 30% on the other line. Well, you didn't do it, so that's a wow on you.
I did.
So step 1 says to what, David?
Start at 100%.
So all I'm going to do is put 100%. That's my step 1. Step 2 says what, Cody?
Subtract the percent change.
Okay, are we going to add or subtract our percent change? So we're going to subtract what? 30%. So Cody, what's 100% minus 30%? What's 100 minus 30?
60.
Close.
70.
70. And because it's still a percent, I put that percent sign on there. So that's step 2. Step 3, Danielle, what's it say?
Change that percent to a decimal.
How do I change that percent to a decimal? I told you to write it up above there so you wouldn't forget.
Divided.
By.
100.
So I'm just going to, so this is how your work should look on your note sheet. So when you take 70% and you divide it by 100, what do you end up with?
0.7.
0.7. This number I just got is called your what? Multiplier. I'm going to circle it.
0.7.
Yes, I'm going to circle that 0.7 because that's called my multiplier. I'm going to use this. Okay? So then I go to my final step. Kaylon, what's my final step say to do?
Wait.
What's step 4 say?
Multiply the original amount by the multiplier.
Okay, what's my original amount?
80.
$80. So I'm going to take $80 times, what's my multiplier? My multiplier is identified because I circled it. What's my multiplier? 0.7.
Yeah.
So in your calculator, I don't have a calculator, you guys, so you have to type it in for me. 80 times 0.7. Oh, you divided. So 80 times 0.7. 56 even? All right. So
I would like it to be
the price of the shoes went from $80 to $56. I would
It's like
definitely
it.
buy them. Yes.
You
I don't
made these
have
problems up?
Do you have the new lead for this?
I don't have lead.
Oh God.
Okay. Yeah, I saw a mess with it a second. You guys all have it? All right. Let's look at practice number 2. Now, how many guys scroll online, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, where you see these clothing, like these clothing boutiques, right? You see these boutiques. And what these boutiques are, people go out to markets, they buy these clothing items, and they sell them marked up. So,
Increase.
a boutique that I like is Ollie Marie.
Who?
Ollie Marie. So Ollie Marie had these really cute, like, pajama pants, and she bought them for $18, but marked them up at 40% and sold them for 40% more. Okay? So,
Increase.
or sorry, not a pajama pants, a shirt. So $18 marked up at 40%. Michael right here already identified marked up means an increase. So that's my key word I'm using. I'm going to put a plus sign to show that marked up is an increase. So then I go through my steps. Step 1, Jaden, what do I do? Start at what? What's step 1 say to do? So I'm going to start at 100%. Mackenzie, what's step 2 say to do? Yeah, so am I going to add that or subtract that? Yeah, because it's marked up, so I'm going to add 40%. So what's 100 plus 40? What's 100% plus 40%? 140%. You subtracted them. And I'm not going to lie, people make that mistake when they do this as well. Okay, so we have now completed step 1 and step 2. Sorry, I feel like I'm going to sneeze. It's not coming. Step 3 then says to do what? How do I do that?
Don't you divide
By,
100?
that's right. So I'm going to take 140 divided by 100, and what do I get? Nah,
Question.
1.4. Now, this number that I just got right here, hold your thought, please. That 1.4, that's going to be called my multiplier. I'm going to circle it because I'm going to use that number again. In upcoming problems, we're going to have multiple multipliers. That's why I'm circling them, so I don't forget about any of the multipliers that I'm going to need to use. So now steps 1 through 3 are done. I go to step 4. Mackenzie, what's step 4? Yeah, so what's the original amount of the shirt? 18. So I'm going to take the $18 and multiply it by my multiplier. What's my multiplier?
1.4.
Okay. So when you type into your calculator 18 times 1.4, what do you get? 25.2 you said? I'm sorry. Okay. So 25.2. Now how many places past the decimal do I need numbers? If I'm dealing with money, how many places past the decimal do I need numbers in? 2, because I needed to go to the hundreds place. Well, right now I only have one number past the decimal. So I'm going to add a 0 to the back. Good. Am I done with this problem?
Yeah. No.
Okay. I need my dollar sign because I'm dealing with money. And then I need my box. So, the shirt that Ollie Marie Boutique bought for $18, they're actually turning and changing it and selling it for $25.20. That's how they're making their profit. Now, just like any store, though, you guys understand, any store is going to increase the amount. So, like if you go to Champs and you buy a $125 pair of shoes, they already fluctuated that price.
Look at the answer. It's off. We have to write a percent.
Well, we're not, no, because we're writing the amount that the total goes to. All right, practice number 3.
What was the answer to number 2?
I'll go back and give it to you. Practice number 3. So, on your examples, a $50 stereo is taxed at 7.25%. So I went to Target because I wanted to buy a little sound system for the garage when we were playing ping pong. I found a $50 stereo at Target that I thought would work. However, it's going to be taxed at 7.25%. So does that mean the stereo is going to cost more than 50 or less than 50? How do you know? Because taxed at means a what? Good, so it's going to be an increase. Deja, what's step 1 say to do? So I'm going to start at 100%. AJ, step 2 says to do what?
Add or subtract.
Okay, so what do I do?
A.
Add what? Okay, and what does that equal, AJ?
No, 8.
100 plus 7.25. What does that equal?
8.25.
Yeah, 107.25, and it's still a percent. So I'm going to put my percent sign on the back of that. Good, so that's step 2. Step 3, Kelly, what do I do now?
Divide by 100.
Yeah, I'm going to change that percent to a decimal, and I do that by dividing by 100. Which then equals,
1.075.
you're going to use that whole number, you guys. That's my multiplier. That big long number right there, you're going to use the whole entire thing as our multiplier. So I'm going to circle it, because we circle our multipliers. Don't box it. So picky, aren't I? We're going to circle it. Okay, so we're done with steps 1 through 3. Step 4, what do I do? Who knows the last step? Kelly. Okay, so what's my actual amount? So I'm going to take $50 times my multiplier, which was what? Yeah, that long number. Now you're probably going to get a long number in your calculator when you do this. Whenever you punch it into your calculator, let me see it. Okay, no, you don't divide, you multiply it, because multiplier. So when you type that into your calculator, you're going to get 53.625. All right, now, the Target cashier didn't say, ma'am, your stereo is going to cost $53.625. Okay? I'm going to go 2 places past the decimal, right? So what number is in my 100th place value, or 2 places past the decimal? The 2. So I'm going to look to the right of the 2. Everything behind that 2,
No, ma'am.
thank you, I'm not going to need. I'm not going to use. But I do need to use it to see if I'm going to round this up or leave it the same. So I look directly to the right. Is this 5 or greater? Yes. If the answer is yes, that 2 goes to a... If this number behind it's 5 or greater, is that 2 going to round up or stay the same? Round up. 5 or greater, it goes up. So my total cost of my radio is going to be $53 and... what? How many cents? 60. Well, we just said that 2 went to a 3, so 63.
Oh, I ain't heard it.
I will say, I feel like the part that most students struggle with on this lesson is rounding the money. Okay? So that's practice number 3.
I wish we rounded our money in today's world. Right, whatever they give
You can if you go to Schnucks, they'll always ask, do you want to round up? To
Really?
donate to da-da-da-da-da? And I always say yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Okay,
Oh, you know that.
is this the last one?
Nope.
No.
You gotta know.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh, yeah.
Practice number... Okay, so this is... Okay, so I want you guys to look at examples 1 through 3, and then look at example 4. What do you notice that's different between the first 3 examples compared to the last example? Okay, so if you notice, Kelly already knows, we have more spots that we're going to have percent changes. So all this is saying, if you go to Target and you buy something that has a discounted price, you guys know at the register you're going to get taxed on it. Or have you ever been to Target or a shopping center and they have a price and it was discounted, it still didn't sell, so they discounted it more, and then you went to the checkout and it's going to have a tax price on it. So you can have multiple increase and decreases in the price. So I'm going to show you how you guys are going to get that actual amount once you finish paying all your discounted things and all your tax increases. Hmm?
Don't they do that with houses also?
Yes. Yes. Okay. So
That's a
let's say that you went to, I'm old, I like Maurice's. You can find stuff at a decent price. So I went to Maurice's and I found a shirt that was $15. Score for me, actually I think this might be from Maurice's. Score for me, that was 40% off. So it's going to be even cheaper than that, right? Because it's discounted. But when I went to the register, it's taxed at 8.1%.
Why?
So right here, if you see 2%, you automatically know you're going to have 2% changes. So discounted means add or subtract, you guys. Subtract. Tax stat means increase or decrease. Increase, so add. So what that means, we're going to do steps 1 through 3 for each percent. Okay? So we're going to end up with 2 multipliers before we're able to do step 4. So we're going to worry about our discounted price first. So I still follow my same steps. It's nothing new except for we're going to do it twice. So I'm still going to start at 100%. So 100%. I'm going to look at my first percent increase or decrease, which is discounted 40%. Discounted means what? Subtract. So I'm going to take 100% minus 40%. So 100% minus 40% is what? 60%. So there's step 2. If you write big, kind of write small. Okay? Now, what do I do with this percent?
You add it by
What do I change this percent to? Step 3.
decimal.
Yeah, I change it to a decimal. How do I change it to a decimal? Divide by 100. Okay, what's 60% divided by 100? 0.6. I'm going to circle it because it's my first multiplier. Okay, so I found my first multiplier. I did steps 1 through 3, got my first multiplier. Now I'm going to repeat steps 1 through 3 to get my second multiplier for what is being taxed at. So I start at step 1 again. What's step 1? 100%. Step 2. Are we going to increase or decrease if it's taxed at? Increase. So I'm going to add. What am I adding? 8%. Okay. So what's 100 plus 8.1? And because it's still a percent, I got to put that percent sign on the back. Okay, so there's step 2. What do I do with step 3? No, look at your notes. Divide by 100 because we're changing that percent to a decimal. Okay, what's that as a decimal? Good. I'm going to circle it. That's my second multiplier. So now that I have both of my multipliers for my discounted and my tax stat, I'm ready to go to step 4. Kaylon, what's step 4 say?
Multiply the original amount by the multiplier.
Okay, so what's the original amount of the shirt I bought? $15. So I'm going to multiply this 15 by both multipliers. So I'm going to take 15 and I'm going to put in parentheses times 0.06. And then I'm going to put another set of parentheses and include my other multiplier, which is 1.081. And that's going to give me the price of the shirt. So I'm going to take in my calculator 15 times 0.6 times 1.081. Once you type that into your calculator, what do you get? Show it to me. What do you get? Who has it typed into their calculator?
No,
9 point. Okay, so once you type that, you're going to get 9.729. Now again, I'm dealing with money. How many places past the decimal do I need when I deal with money? 2. So I need the 100 spot. Anything behind that 100 spot, I'm going to drop. But I have to use it to determine if I round the number that's underlined up or if it stays the same. So I look to the right. 5 or greater? Yes. If I say yes, this 2 then goes to a... So the amount of the shirt was how much? 7 point... Oh, shoot. Not 7. 9.73. So $9.73.